Hi, I'm gonna tell you how pattern and model pattern and drafting patterns are working today. So I'm gonna use a wall to explain how it works. So first I'm gonna draw a basic wall here in the middle. By selecting the wall and go into the type, I click here edit type. I see how a preview of the wall, and if I go into the structure, edit, I get the build-up of the wall with how many mills are on each side of the core structure and how much terminal layer there is. The reason why they are split between core boundaries is the way is influencing the way that the wall will join other walls, so you can get some really nice joints if you build this up correctly. We're going to look at the materials, so I'm not really going to explain the function of thickness or wraps. So if you click on material, you get a shading, a surface pattern, and a cut pattern, and a color to the patterns. Over here you get all the materials. So each material has a different setup of surface pattern and shading. The one selected on our wall was the masonry brick, and we're going to make a duplicate of it. And a good way of trying to organize the material is to rename it with your project code in the front, so you know that's been made by you. You can also, when you have made the wall types you need, or you think you might need for your project, you can delete the rest, and you can always pick them up from a different file in case you need something. But it can be very fast, very confusing in here. You do have the material class to help you clear up. And the way you change the material class is you have your material selected, and you go into identity, and you can change the class to become one of the other classes. So for example, in air barrier, you would see that it's a different class. But let's go back to the graphic. You can change the appearance of the shading. This is not a rendering. This is just a little shading button down here in the corner. The rendering is done in here. I'm not going to talk about that today. So the next thing is in surface pattern, you can choose between a drafting or a model pattern. You can see both of them in 3D, but the difference is that the drafting pattern is kind of a 2D pattern, where the model pattern you can edit to align with your object. And it's also much more heavy in your model. So okay. And you can change the color of your pattern just by clicking on the color, and be sure you have selected a color. And you can see that the color here changes. And then if you go down to the cut pattern, let's just try to select the same, which was it's because we selected a model pattern. The model pattern are not the same as the drafting pattern, so we keep the brick dash here and say OK. But if we go back up to the surface pattern and say let's take a drafting pattern, and we pick the same as below, which was the brickwork pattern here, and we say OK. You can see that the color hasn't changed down here. They keep a separate kind of color. They're not influenced by each other. But if you go in and say, oh, I need this one to be a little bit more dense because it doesn't come up correctly in my drawing or something. Not that you would do that with a set brickwork, but with another type of pattern. So you can go to the simple and just change it to this, for example. And you say, OK. Thinks a bit, and the reason why it thinks is because this pattern up here, surface pattern, changes with it. So This is kind of the core. In here, in the patterns, you have the core to all your patterns in the project. Also, when you go to fill regions, these drafting patterns are the same you pick up on here. So again, it's quite a good idea to keep it maybe lined out in the drawing. Maybe you have kind of a file which is sort of a legend file where you have everything laid out with fill regions and cut patterns, so you can see what is used in the project. So we're gonna go back here to the brickwork and say, we would like a model pattern, and we'll change the pattern to become rectangular 300 by 500 and say OK. Then we say OK. I see it changed name to 01, which is the one we took or made, and say OK again. And then you have our new hatch here. If you go to the elevation, you can see that we have a new grid as well. And if you use your tab, which is a very good thing to learn, you can pick up the lines, and you can move them a little bit up and down manually, or you can go up in your align tool and you can pick up the top, and then you can pick up this one, and you can align the whole tool to the top of your wall, and you can lock it, and which is the fantastic thing with a toilet tile layout, where you can align everything. And that's really nice. So if you look in 3D, you can see that you can also see the pattern here. Let me rotate here with the, and you can change from that green that we took in the shaded view and just say hidden line, and we get the white, and we can see our purple lines that we made ourselves. Go back to the plan and have a look at our own setup of that hatch. Yeah. Well, that was all I would like to say about drafting patterns and model patterns, and that they're quite important, even though they seem to be just something you can quickly edit. It's really good to have an overview, because otherwise someone have suddenly changed the color of your pattern or the scale or rotated it. Oh, there was one more thing I would like to just show in the patterns. You can go in and you can actually in the pattern, you can, when you say edit, you can choose to orient it to the view, or keep it readable, or align to view. So if you keep it readable, it kind of changes to the scale of your drawing, and if you align it with element, it will sort of stay the same and sort of act a bit like the ordinary AutoCAD hatch. And to orient to view is quite a funny one. It's only used in certain situations. Yep, let me say cancel here. Well, actually you can see in here the course fill, because that's another subject, but down here you have your detail view, which is what we have worked on, but you can also see the course where it just becomes a solid, which is probably what you want in 1 to 100. So, but in 1 to 20 it might be nicer to see our hatch and how it looks. And you can see it's scaled with the scale of the view, the hatch scaled down. Okay, thank you for listening. I hope this was a big help for understanding the importance of pattern hatch and model hatch. Thanks.